Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about a trick that you can use when multiplying negative numbers. Now, you probably already know how to multiply negative numbers and what that's going to look like, but here's a little trick you can use when multiplying negative numbers that will carry over into the higher math classes as you go. And it's really simple. You can see this key that I have down here. It says if even, it's going to be equal to positive. And then it says below, if odd, it's going to be equal to negative. So it's really, really simple. So I can see on number one that they want me to multiply negative 5 times 5 times 3. Now, typically what students will do, they'll do negative 5 times 5 and get negative 25. And then they'll do negative 25 times 3 and get negative 75. But, as the numbers get a little more complex and you have more operations within a single problem, there's a simple trick you can use to determine what the end result is going to be. Is it going to be positive or negative? Now, remember, this is only for multiplying, negative numbers. Technically, you can apply it to dividing negative numbers as well, but in this video here, we're just going to be talking about multiplying negative numbers. So I want to go ahead and look at number one, and I want to show you what you're going to do. All you have to do is count the amount of negative numbers in the problem. So I can see that I have one negative number here, and that negative number is going to be negative 5. So 1 is odd, right? We all know that the number 1 is odd, meaning our end result is going to be negative. So before I even do the problem, I can put a negative sign here because I know it's going to be negative. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to multiply all the numbers together as if they were positive. I'm going to do 5 times 5 and I'm going to get 25. And then I'm going to do 25 times 3 and get 75. And I already have that negative there. And this problem is now complete. So it's a little trick you can use, right, to figure out the end result when you're multiplying negative numbers together. So if you look at 2, how many negative numbers do I have? Well, I have 1 here, and 1 here. That's 3, right? And we know that 3 is going to be odd, meaning our end result is going to be negative, right? So from here, I can simply just multiply the entire thing out. And I'm going to assume everything is positive because I don't care about the signs anymore. I'm going to do 3 times 4, right? I get 12. And then I have 12 times 3, that's going to give me 36. And then 36 times 1, I get 36. So here's my end result. I get negative 36, right? Done. Let's take a look at number 3. How many negative numbers do I have? I have 1, 2. 2 is even. The end result is going to be positive. So again, I'm going to assume now everything is positive when I multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 1 is 9. And then 9 times 3 is 27. Again, positive 27, because we already know the end result. Okay, let's keep going. This one here we're dealing with a fraction, not a big deal. But remember, I do have one negative number here, meaning the end result is going to be negative because 1 is odd, right? So you're doing 2 times a half. Well, the 2's will end up canceling out here, right? And you're going to be left with 1. So 1 times 1, I get 1. Again, I already know the sign. It's going to be negative. So the end result here is negative 1. Okay, let's try 2 more problems that are a little more challenging. So here are the next 2 problems. Again, these are a little more challenging, but let's go ahead and take a look at number 5. How many negative numbers do I have? Well, I have 1 here, and it's going to be that fraction. So 1, that's going to be odd, meaning the end result is going to be negative. Okay, so look what happens here. I'm doing 1/5 times 5. We know that the 5's are going to cancel out here, right? And I'm going to be left with 1. Again, I can disregard this negative sign now because I already know the end result. So this whole part right here is going to essentially be 1. Okay, and now we're doing 1 times 25. I get 25, and 25 times 3, 75. There is the final result, negative 75. Okay, this one here is a little bit different. Now this one we may want to write out. First, let's determine the end result. I have a negative number here and a negative number here. That is 2, right? We know that 2 is going to be even, meaning the end result is going to be positive. So I can go ahead and disregard these negative signs now. I know the end result. Now, this part right here, be careful. The 7's are not going to cancel out here, okay? So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and write this out. We have 1/7. And then multiplied by 1/7. Again, I don't need that negative sign anymore. I already know the end result. It's going to be positive. So what we're doing here, right, we want to see if we can cross reduce. We cannot. The 7s will not cancel because I don't have it on the top and bottom. They're both on the bottom. I'm going to multiply right across here. So when I multiply right across, I end up with 1 over 49. So 1 over 49. Okay, that's what I end up with when I do this whole part right here. Okay, and so now we have 1 over 49 times 49. So again, you may want to write it out, 1 over 49, okay, times 49. And again, that 49 is really over 1. We can see what's going to happen here. We were doing this in the previous problems, right? The 49s will cancel, and the whole thing reduces down to 1, okay? So now we're left with 1, and all we have to do now is multiply by 1. And there's going to be our final answer. It's going to be positive 1. So our final answer here is going to be positive 1. Okay? And so this problem is now complete. So that's a simple trick you can use when you're dealing with negative numbers, and in particular when you're multiplying. Rather than keeping those negative signs, go ahead and get rid of them and just count how many you have, because that's going to tell you the end result. And typically students find it easier multiplying positive numbers. You don't have to worry about the signs changing on you because, again, you already know what the end result is going to be. So if you found this video helpful, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And as always, make sure you subscribe so you get more math videos in the future, and I'll see you in the next one.